All right, let's dive right into this Begg Knives production Astio. Now, this is a production version of a custom designed by JVO, and I really wanted one of the customs, really bad. One of the reasons I didn't get one of the customs was because it's a compound grind blade, and this part was always mirror polished, and this one was sometimes stone washed and sometimes mirror polished. But the tip was always mirror polished, and I just didn't really like that. Was not my thing. My older brother had one, and when he went to go sell it, I had an opportunity, but I squandered it away and decided no. And I think just to go off for a second, it's all about timing. It's really timing for me. At the moment that my brother was selling his, I don't remember the circumstances exactly, but it just wasn't a good time for me to spend the money. And he would have held it for me and all that, but I think I was changing directions in my collection at the time. And so I was like, don't really need one anymore. But then when I got this one, their production version, it kind of made me miss the custom version. I was supposed to get a custom with a basket weave Damascus blade, and you know, life happens. It just didn't materialize, but that's okay. So let's just talk about the specs real quick. 4 3/4 closed, 8 1/4 overall with a 3.47-inch blade. Behind the edge, you have 0.024 up here at the tip and 0.016 at the recurved belly part. It is D2, runs on bearings, weighs in at 4.8 ounces, and the overall thickness is 0.524. It's a very cool knife. It works really well in the hand. It works really great in the pocket. The D2 heat treat they've had tested, and it's really well done. So this is, even though it is D2, which a lot of people are going to frown on, and these are made overseas, which more people are going to frown on, some of the same people. The heat treat on this is done really super well. Now, there's a couple of things I don't like about this particular version. One, the price. It's $120. So I don't know if you call that budget-minded. Begg Knives, and this is not my story to tell, but they have shifted and are really just going into more of that commodities market, right? A lot of their stuff is like 40 and under, 50 and under, and then they've got some at 120. Their goal is really to get everything at that 120 or below mark. And I get it. It's easier to sell $50 knives than $1,500 knives. And when you sell a $50 knife, you really don't worry about people calling and complaining, calling and wanting warranty work, shipping their $50 knife in, and waiting and getting it fixed and sent back to them and all of that, right? It takes all of that out of the equation. Because if you're buying a $50 knife, $120 knife, the same difference, right? And it breaks, you're probably just going to go buy a different $120 knife, especially when you get down into the $40 and $50 items. People are just going to buy a couple of them, and if they lose it, break it, get it all junked up at the job site, they're just going to pull out their other $40 knife and call it a day, right? So it is G10 scales with some milling in there, which looks good. Black G10 backspacer. This model comes in a couple different colors. The OD green, coyote. There might be a black one as well. Black pocket clip. All in all, it's a great knife, but you have to understand, and I think I'm a little biased because I'm so familiar with the Begg Knives custom stuff, that I'm just a little bit maybe unimpressed with this because I felt the custom version, right? And I have a bodega over on that table also to still film, and that one I'm gonna feel even less impressed, just as a spoiler, because I own and have several of the more custom bodegas. Now, the two other things that aren't really my favorite on this knife is the jimping here on the lock bar. It can be a bit uncomfortable if you're trying to be fidgety with this. Your thumb really kind of dives into that when you unlock it. So yeah, that's not it's not ideal. And then the flipper tab. And you're always just hitting it here. And it's a little uncomfortable. Again, if you're fidgeting with it, you can't really hook your finger over and get it up on top. I mean, you sort of can, but for me, it's unnatural of a position to really hook your finger around and get into that. So, and then it ends up me kind of shifting. Let me zoom back out. It ends up me kind of shifting my grip and getting more lock bar pressure because I'm trying to get my finger hooked around to really engage that. So I'm really just hitting on that corner. And so after a few deployments, it is a bit uncomfortable. So I don't love that aspect, and I don't really remember, it's been a long time since I've had the custom version, I don't remember that being a thing, okay? Here it is with the Sharpie. I do have my Kubi KB237 back from sharpening, so you got that. And how about the Delica? Okay? You guys should kind of understand the size of this by those. All in all, I think it's a good knife. I mean, it's built solid. It's super, solid lockup. Everything about it is good to go. Just a couple of those caveats, right? And then the price. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think about that. And again, I'm not the price police. I'm not trying to say that it's overpriced or underpriced. I think it's, for me, I may be a little bit biased because I am more familiar with their custom versions of this, that this just seems like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I hope it makes a little bit of sense. Please let me know down in the comments your thoughts, and check out my Begg playlist over here in the corner where I've obviously I've owned a lot of Begg knives over the years. I've done a lot of Begg knife videos, so go check them out. A lot of them are customs and fancy stuff and normal stuff and everything in between.